Well, GROK is pitched as having a rebellious streak, correct?
Yes.
So, is there a real product behind that, or is just a marketing gimmick to differentiate it from ChatGPT?
So I think it's currently just a marketing gimmick, because end of the day it's all using a language model and just like querying the language model with a structured prompt.
So, if the next big frontier is AI integrated devices, does that cede more power to the big hardware giants like Apple and Samsung and their walled gardens?
In fact, I'll say that gives more power, that takes power away from these giants and kind of democratizes the space of AI agents.
Okay. So, do you think J is worth it?
Okay, so I'll kind of refrain from answering this question, but within my own set, see, JE is a very good example of telling you how good you are on mastering one particular curriculum.
Yes.
My problem is equating this with the capability and the intelligence of that kid. It doesn't matter.
What age did you start your coding at?
This was 6th standard, so I believe almost 11 years old.
Do you think it is important to find a right co-founder?
Oh, absolutely. I'll say it's as important as finding the right life partner, because you'll be spending equal or more time with your co-founder.
Okay, so in the global race, should India be a Tesla, like a fundamental research and new architecture, or an Edison, mastering the application and commercialization use of existing AI for specific needs? So at AtomicLoops, do you look for an autodidact person or a traditional or a person who has followed a traditional path of college?
So for us, we really love this Google way of hiring, where they kind of don't even care about where you have graduated from and what is your degree status and like where you're coming from. We really try to follow that path as much as we can.
What's the most overrated AI buzzword?
Oh, I think it's agentic AI. It's just like...
What's agentic AI?
Agentic AI is when you can have an AI work as an agent. Like
Okay.
I build like an AI agent that scrapes the web. We want people to understand that AI is not just about ChatGPT, it's much more.
What's one line to describe the future of AI in India?
I think, okay, I'm going to describe this in 2 words. The future of AI in India is called nation building.
Okay.
So this is like a do or die moment for us. We have to get it right.
Yes.
And the cost of getting it right is extremely high. Like the reward of getting it right is extremely high, versus the cost of missing out on the revolution is also extremely high.
I would like to thank you so much for doing this podcast with us. Just
No
our
worries.
second podcast.
Yeah.
And could you like tell us about yourself, how you started in this field of AI?
So in general, I'm an engineer, right? When it comes to, so AI is not like one specific domain of interest, but always in tech. So from like, I've been fortunate enough to kind of get into tech at a very early stage.
Yeah.
Because of my dad and some other factors as well. Like from let's say 6th standard or something, I've been developing my first mobile apps. So from there, like eventually, if you look at it, the future of tech is in AI, according to me. So that's like this is the next logical step. And I've been a fanatic of building machines from start. So that's why this is the best way to realize building machines. And that's why I kind of got into the AI space.
What age did you start your coding at?
This was 6th standard, so I believe almost 11 years old.
11 years ago.
Yeah.
In 6th standard.
11 years old. So
11 years
that's
old,
like
yeah.
A lot of years.
But generally in 6th standard, they teach HTML, correct? HTML and Scratch. So how did you learn coding in 6th standard?
So in Scratch, right? So my thing is like, except coding, I have absolutely no hobbies, no sports inclination. I am a non-athletic person completely. Golf fair that has started recently. But like in general, right, the only way to kind of be a smart kid in your friends is to do something cool.
Yeah.
So like when they talked about Scratch and that kind of tools, I kind of built a racing game, which I used to play with my friends within like that Scratch group. So all of us together used to play this racing game. And through that, we kind of understood like, okay, what are some new things, what are some interesting things. And I could, play that cool kid card. Yeah. So eventually, that's how like through Scratch was my entry point into coding. But eventually, it then gotten into the AI space.
So, because you started coding at a very young age and then you did engineering. To study engineering, you have to initially study different subjects rather than coding.
Yeah.
So did you find it a little bit bugging that eventually I'll study coding but still have to go through different subjects, for example maths or sciences?
Not really, right? See, for instance, if you look at engineering in itself, it's problem solving in its core. I've seen a lot of people kind of talking about organic chemistry, taking the hell out of them, or talking about engineering mathematics being a very difficult thing. But for me, I just loved it because that's a part of problem solving, that's a part of being an engineer, so whatever it takes.
What are the favorite subject? Computers.
Well, computers, that's it, right?
Computers. No, not any subject, maths or something.
So I'll tell you, my core passion is still in theoretical physics, and like for me, it's all about always having the maximum impact. So had it not been in the tech space, I would have mostly been a theoretical physicist. So in that space, like what's the best way to maximize the impact of physics on the world? I think the best way to do it is through AI, through good computing, good programs where you can simulate stuff.
So did your education play a role in your future today? Or did you like follow a traditional path and then shifted to the practical method of doing it?
So, see, most certainly, right? I'll say education in itself, I've been a little distant from it. Like, that's like just a personal opinion. For me, like, right from my school times when I started coding, a lot of times, a lot of education systems are geared towards you falling into a certain bucket, a certain process, a certain criteria. Somewhere I didn't fit into this. So, that's why for me, always, like, education has been like learning by myself, kind of talking about new tools, exploring new technologies, because see, this is a time where all of these were like pioneering tools, right? For instance, mobile app development at that scale was like 1 year after Android was released. So like this is like very initial cutting edge days, and there is no way this can be incorporated in the curriculum. So for me, I haven't really relied a lot on the traditional education pattern, but at the same time it kind of teaches you discipline, it teaches you structure of thought, it teaches you, methodical thinking. But at the same time, if you need to like fly out and kind of build something on the edge, I really think you should stand out, which is what happened in my case as well.
Talking about education, what do you think about a JE journey for engineering, before engineering?
Did you prepare for any?
I did. That's a very sad story. I did prepare for JE. I didn't do very well in that. Full disclosure. But of course, at the same time, I genuinely love physics and math. And then it was like my first realization of not doing well in JE that hey, it takes more than passion to do good at something. So, but that's where it is. And I think for me, I was fortunate enough and lucky enough to discover coding at a very early stage and kind of be genuinely inclinated towards it. Through this, for me, like even in 11th, 12th, like throughout the times where people kind of study for JE and like put all in, for me, I was still like as wiped out with coding as possible. So like, even if I'm not studying, I'm coding something.
In coding, do you have any preferences for which language do you love, particularly any language?
So, for me, of course, I love Python, but I kind of don't like people who have a preferred coding language, because being like a top tier coder, it should not matter which language you write to code in. Like it should take you. I used to conduct these workshops in schools, like 3 hours for like 9, 10th kids, and within 3 hours you can learn any new language. And because you just need like to learn some basic building blocks, and that's it. Everything else is logic and problem solving after that.
So what app did you build at the age in 6th standard?
So this was a very simple Celsius to Fahrenheit temperature converter. So at that time, my dad had gotten like a temperature wall clock, and it used to show you the temperature in Fahrenheit. And for me, Fahrenheit was not very like digestible in looking at the temperature. So I wanted to build an app that could just like show me what's the Celsius temperature.
Yes.
That's why I kind of gotten into it.
So you used Scratch for it? No.
No. This was a early stage of Android. Like this was when like Android 4, Samsung had just released it S2 model, like Galaxy S2 model.
Yes.
Like the almost first flagship Android phone. So this was using Android Studio and like the full Java Kotlin ecosystem.
The schools and unis are like adapting towards the new age of AI. Are they integrating it with their curriculum and everything, or is it like too early, like how you were doing?
So contrary to it, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. Universities and schools are kind of jumping behind the AI wave, and they are integrating it in ways which might not be very practical. Like even now when you do engineering, right, like right now you have the cap 3 round going on for engineering, like you have these admission process going on. If you look at it, you have branches for AI, data science, data analytics and Python, which is like absurd. So colleges are trying to adopt to it. At the same time, I don't really understand what's kind of the base thought process behind this, because it's not something which you can integrate so easily into like a 4-year engineering degree and then just leave kids after that.
I agree. So what sparked your interest in technology and coding?
Okay, so again, as I said, my biggest inclination has been space and like physics behind like how planets orbit each other and what governs what, like how does one star die and what happens after a star dies, like what is like a supernova. All of these things really interest me. And through this, somewhere I understood that there is a structure to this universe functioning.
Yes.
And through this structure, somewhere you get back into the thought process of, hey, if there is a structure to everything, can we define everything happening in the real world in this structure? So like that's where you get into the space of kind of thinking about your own machines. Like the moment you switch on a TV, thinking about how does it work. And through this, eventually, like you might have seen those memes where you have kids who, maybe in Doraemon, right, you have Nobita who kind of unscrews his fridge and his mom opens the door and everything crashes down.
Yeah.
I was that kid. Like I kept opening my mixer, my fridge, TV, like every appliance at home. I used to kind of open it, see what's inside.
So how did this tech interest evolve into atomic loops?
So like when we go to atomic loops, the whole idea was, if you think about it, the maximum impact in a certain space can be gotten by getting into business, like by commercializing something. And I really like Steve Jobs' quote here, like the best kind of businessman is someone who doesn't want to be in business. He's just a technologist who wants to play his game at the best.
With passion.
With passion, that's it. So in that space, atomic loops for me is a way to kind of fuel this vision into reality and kind of control my own bubble and sphere of AI enablement.
So you started Atomic Loops. So was it driven by a personally, was it driven by a problem you faced personally?
So for me, in general, when we talk about tech and when we talk about business, I don't come from a business background. So starting a business is not as intuitive as it is normally. So for me, the only motivation was I was studying engineering.
Yes.
And in engineering, I saw a lot of friends like me whose talent, I believe, was not fully utilized. So the best way to just utilize this talent was to kind of start a venture, get all of these people together and kind of start building things, and let's see if someone can buy this and give us money for it. It's a viable business. When it was as simple as that, over time we found some customers, over time we found some implementation patterns. We had these college kids sitting together building code and then shipping it overseas. That's how it all started. Of course, we are much mature now from that space.
So
but
you started Atomic Loops on your own, or did you get a co-founder?
I have a co-founder. His name is Anuj.
Okay. So do you think it is important to find a right co-founder?
Oh, absolutely. I'll say it's as important as finding the right life partner, because you'll be spending equal or more time with your co-founder. And see, in business, right, primarily if you're coming from like a startup space in business, there are a lot of struggles which you have to kind of fight within the market. Like, things like technology adoption, things like finances, things like market adoption, things like trends, employees, there are 100 things that you need to fight. The only thing which you cannot afford to fight is at your senior leadership level. So that's why having that co-founder with whom you can absolutely trust is very important. Like with me as well, when it comes to Anuj, both of us have very similar thinking process. So it's like two different brains just functioning at two different situations, thinking the same guidelines.
I agree, it's very important. But what's one critical thing you look in your co-founder?
So right now, when I see platforms like Y Combinator, co-founder matching, where you could follow some co-founders, over there a lot of focus is being done on having the right skill, coming out of the right business school, coming out of the right engineering college, the right IIT, the right Stanford. For me, even more than all of this, like a good co-founder who can take your business from like zero to more than, let's say, a unicorn stage, is a person who has high level of integrity. So
Yes.
just having someone who is very true to yourself, have maximum integrity, even if there are a lot of other gaps when it comes to the other aspects of this, they can all be filled out over time. But like having one person who will never go behind your back and who you can trust, and who will never have performance issues or who will never have trust issues with you.
I agree. It doesn't have to be competitive. It has to be complementary.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you tell us about the phase after your engineering and before atomic loops, like the particular, because AI came into the trend after 2020 as your company started in 2020, right? So what was your life goal before getting introduced to atomic loops?
So my life goal was always to do something cool in tech. I have no other life goal, I have no other hobby, I cannot do anything else. So I just have one thing that I do decently well, that is tech. I love doing that. So I'll say for me, AI started in 1970s, right? It's being commercialized right now, but like AI started from research labs in 1970s, where you had like the first perceptron, you had the MLCP, like you had various tools coming up in that space. So for us, it was just like a matter of doing enough research and making sure technology is adopted in the long run. So it was never about transitioning into AI such.
So how did you choose AI as, like, when we are in college, there's web dev, app dev, ethical hacking, multiple specialization which you can go for, right?
Yeah.
So how did you think I should go for AI in particular?
There are two aspects to this. The first one is about having maximum impact. Like, see, think about it right now. If I was good at app development, the most I could do was build a killer mobile app, right?
Yes.
If I'm good at AI, I can build an AI that can build this killer mobile app. So I kind of still stay within the software development space, but I come from it through an AI angle. First part. Second is like there is a lot of competition and a lot of people doing web app and mobile app. Like, what value do you add on top? Like, maybe you could do it faster, you could do it more efficiently, you could do it with less code, but still, like, what are you solving for the end customer? I don't think we're solving a lot.
What's your proudest moment as a founder?
So for me, because I'm a technologist, and we are not a business school led business, we are a tech led business. So for me, always the proud moment has to be whenever I have a new project and we build like a full AI system, where normally, let's say, you have like a 50-member team, manual team, doing some paperwork, some process within, let's say, a manufacturing plant. The moment you like implement your AI tools on top of it, and this 50-member team can now generate like 10 times more output with the same team, and there is a spark. So just like let's say you have a small kid, right, and you give him like a brand new chocolate, and he knows he loves that chocolate, and this guy, his eyes suddenly light up. I've seen this spark within so many people, where if technology is sufficiently advanced enough, they think of it like magic. Like, I've seen a lot of my customers just think about AI, like see what's being generated, and then they are like so impressed by it. It's like magic for them, and when that eyes light up, right, that's like the proudest moment for me.
So at Atomic Loops, do you look for an autodidact person or a traditional or a person who has followed a traditional path of college?
So for us, we really love this Google way of hiring, where they kind of don't even care about where you've graduated from and what is your degree status and like where you're coming from. We really try to follow that path as much as we can. Of course, there are still some limitations to it, but in general, I prefer people, like, our way of assessments do not include education and do not include your upbringing. As long as you're a good problem solver, everyone is given a fair chance.
Okay. Can you tell us about how your tech, like you've done a startup, right? So was it, how challenging it was for a tech person to get into the startup world? Obviously, it is related to tech itself, but there would have been some challenges to get into the startup world, right?
So I'll say for me, of course, there are generally a lot of challenges, like figuring out finance for the very first time, figuring out like office, HR, figuring out employees, culture, figuring out customers, product market fit. There are 100 different challenges. But somewhere for us, I've always had this philosophy of cutting through the noise. So for me, it's as clear as just focus on one thing, which is solving a problem that is important enough. Like you cannot solve problems that no one cares about. So at least solve something that is important, and everything else kind of keeps getting into space.
So you started Atomic Loops 5 years back, correct then?
Yeah.
In 2020.
Yeah.
So could you like help us understand what Atomic Loops
So
exactly
actually we started in
do?
2021,
2021.
September. Yeah.
So what does Atomic Loop exactly do?
So we are into the AI digitization space, where let's say you're a manufacturing company, we come to you, we look at what you do from start to end.
Okay.
And through this we identify a lot of workflows that can be automated, like documents, bills, procedures, employee instructions, quality control, weld detections, cameras, worker safety. Like we identify a lot of things, like for example in manufacturing, and help you streamline all of this.
Okay, so for someone who isn't a data scientist, could you like walk us through how a project works till from AI to manufacturing? How does the project generally work at Atomic Loops?
Sure. So every project kind of starts with an assessment phase,
Okay.
where we kind of have this consulting style assessment report. We kind of look at the operations of every business. We have a full review of their process from start to end. Like how does the first operation happen, then how does the R&D happen, how does material handling happen, how does billing happen, how does logistics, shipping, supply chain happen. We evaluate this business on all fronts. Once we do this, then we kind of do an internal brain assessment. Once we do it, the outcome is then a structured document where you have like a set of AI instructions that you could follow. Now these are, let's say the first one might be worker safety. Like your workers are standing too close to the welding machines. Let's use CCTV cameras to give you insights, just as an example. Through this, we kind of recommend our clients like, hey, these are the top 10 AI projects that you should do. If you do this, then these are the following business impacts. Once that happens, then we go in, we collect proprietary data, we train AI systems on this data. A lot of times this lives on the customer cloud. A lot of times this lives on AWS. A lot of times this lives on our clouds. So based on like the type of infrastructure, we build this AI model. We do a benchmarking testing phase, and then we give it to the customer. And then this AI model is responsible to generate the output, do all of this correction, flagging, checking, all different types of outputs.
So do you lean on open source tools or proprietary systems?
I'll say both. Our preference is always leaning on open source tools because of data considerations, because of data security issues. So you kind of start with open source. Sometimes in the current space, because of the speed of things that are happening, like every 2 months you have a new AI model coming up. So in this space, some problems require specialized custom AI models where you have to kind of partner with some other AI providers. But our focus is always going open source, customizing, and then improving on top of open source.
What do you think about the data privacy of customers or any particular thing? Because AI models mostly feed on data, right?
Yeah.
So what is your take on the data privacy concerns which have been there around all the time?
How does Atomic Loops protect data for
So
clients?
for us, see, there are many ways, and we follow all industry standard process like data in transit, data at rest being encrypted. Then in general, AI models itself follow something called as sharding. So a single AI model is not living at one single place. So first of all, even if someone gets access to an AI model, they cannot retrieve the training data from it. So like it's like taking a person, teaching this person with a lot of company data, and then giving this data back to the company. It doesn't reside with Atomic Loops. This data never leaves the company servers. Once this AI model is trained, like once this person becomes smart enough on the company data, this person is then stored in different pieces at different locations. So essentially, even if you get access to like one data bit, one AI model bit, it's useless for you. Unless you like combine all of those. You know, it's like those fancy Mission Impossible movies where like unless you combine those 3 keys, you cannot open the lock. But like broad level, we follow all industry standard process around compliance, data security, data transit, and AI model versioning, storing, all of that.
So do you focus on cloud-based data or edge AI?
We focus on both. Because, see, everyone loves having edge AI, right? Like your data not going to a cloud and everything happening on edge. The problem is edge devices are not as big as cloud, because on cloud you can have huge servers, on edge you cannot. Like the most you have is a smartphone with like a tiny chip inside. So we try to push for edge AI wherever possible, wherever we can have like small language models, like lightweight models. If not, we kind of tend to stay on cloud and have these large language models work from cloud and then talk with the edge device.
Yes. Could you like share us a case study for a company you work with?
Sure. So a very good case study is maybe Amul, and which is maybe close to our hearts. So Amul, the thing is, Amul is a cooperative, right? Like Amul is not owned by one single person or one single entity. It's owned by all of the dairy farmers that produce milk for Amul. So it's like a cooperative. Now within this cooperative, what happens is there are still edge cases in every company. So the way Amul works is they get milk from dairy producers, and dairy producers sell this milk to Amul, and then the price of this milk is decided by Amul, factoring in their profits, their operating expenses, all of that. A lot of times we've seen people trying to add water, cornstarch to increase the volume of milk by like not having enough cost in it and then selling it at a higher price. The problem is this is called milk adulteration.
Yes, right.
So we partnered with like an IoT company who built like a special gas sensor. This gas sensor detects certain molecules within the milk structure. The moment this is done, we have an AI model that kind of analyzes all of this molecule, decoding. It does all of the decomposition after this and tells you within 10 seconds if this milk is adulterated or not. If yes, by what percentage.
Okay.
Now, in this case, this is a massive improvement, because before this AI model, the only way to check if milk is adulterated or not is to run a culture test. To run a culture test, essentially you just have to like take milk in a petri dish, keep it somewhere and let it stay for like 24 to 48 hours and then check the results.
It's time consuming.
The problem is like the rest of the milk, right, which is present like in the batch, is kind of going waste till this 48 hours are over.
Yes.
So that's why people used to not do this in real time before like sending the milk out to customers. But now it's possible.
So in a traditional way, how long did Amul take to verify the food adulteration?
24 to 48 hours.
24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
And you scaled it down to 10
Half a
minutes.
minute.
Half a minute.
Yeah.
That's very impressive. But you know, everyone's focusing on building the core AI model.
Yeah.
And most of the projects fail. Is the last mile. It's the last mile problem in AI. So how does AtomicLoops fix that problem, the last mile AI problem?
So if you think about it, in case of AtomicLoops, our core focus is itself on the last mile delivery of like these AI systems.
Yes.
So if you think about it, we are not solving like a enterprise first approach where we are not building large language models for the sake of defining benchmarks. We are more into integrating large language models into your workflows and kind of solving that full network for you.
Okay. I think most of the startups fail in that, because it's quite difficult taking it from a classmate notebook to a practical approach.
And I'll tell you, like, this is kind of 90% where our problems also come up, right? Because everyone has a different way of dealing with their data, dealing with their systems, dealing with their processes. So integrating our AI systems in all of this is itself very time consuming, but like I think someone has to go in and do this heavy work.
I agree. Are there any other case studies which AtomicLoops have worked with? Any companies?
Sure. So we have worked with many France-based companies to kind of define market research, to define research statistics, to define news analysis. We have worked with a lot of manufacturing companies to build RFQ automations, to build supply chain automations, to build factory level automations. Because now like the game is changing from low cost labor to high quality automation.
But you just said that it's changing from low cost labor to high quality automation.
Yeah.
Do you think that in the Silicon Valley, many companies like Microsoft are laying off employees?
Yeah.
Do you think it is because of the change in AI, more leaning towards AI?
So in general, right, whenever like a new technology comes in, there is a shift in the kind of talent that's needed, right? So for instance, a lot of people thought that after tractors coming in, farmers are going to like lose their jobs, right?
Yes.
What happened is after tractors came in, you had different types of jobs for those people. So like when you talk about skilled jobs, like the skill changes when a new technology comes in. Even after like the industrial age, even after robotics, even after like all of these things coming in, the skill or the core talent which was needed to kind of be productive at these jobs changed. So when this change happens, a lot of times there is a wave of people who do not cope up with this change and people who do.
Okay.
People who cope up with this change are rewarded very handsomely because it is an early stage of doing business. People who do not, unfortunately, have to be going back to the drawing board, figuring out this new technology, learning about it, analyzing it, and then implementing it.
Well, it takes about 10,000 hours to master a skill, correct?
Yeah.
So do you think that India is far behind it, or India is coping up with the change in AI?
Oh, not at all. So I think it takes 10,000 hours to master something. The problem is AI itself, like if you look at consumer AI, it's not 10,000 hours old also. Like every new technology that comes in itself is not 10,000 hours old.
Yes.
There is no way you can master it. Even if you like stay up 24/7, like every single week, you still cannot master it. So that's why now like the game has changed where instead of mastering AI, just learn how to use it properly. Like if you can just learn integrations, if you can just learn how to have this AI system talk to you and build systems along with this AI model, I think that's enough. You don't need to master the technology as it stands.
So like the US has ChatGPT and
Yeah.
China has DeepSeek, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that India is now coping up with the AI, particularly the AI models for generative text?
The way I look at this is there are kind of two types of layers, right? So let me take you back to something, a case study. So let's say when modern networking and internet came through, right? Fast forward to today, which are the biggest internet companies? It's maybe Microsoft,
Yeah.
Google, like the most valued internet companies are actually companies that are using the internet, are not companies that have built the internet.
Okay.
So thinking about this, I believe that building AI models is like building the foundation on which the AI revolution is going to happen. So looking at this in the lens of we are falling behind in the AI race, I think it's all okay because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In India, as we stand, I agree that building foundational models is a very important thing for like long-term data security and long-term security in the AI space. There are multiple people who I know of who are getting into this space, who are building good quality AI stuff. But I think the biggest value for India right now is going to be using foundational models, either open source or closed source, and building integrations and kind of level up productivity across all industries. Because we have massive manpower, we have massive resources, we have massive manufacturing happening on like our soil. We need to make sure all of this is getting maximum productivity gains and we kind of level up these industries. Once we do this, building foundational models is not going to be very difficult because in itself these models are being commoditized. Like the price of using a foundational model is always dropping. Like if you look at any 6 months patch, like the start versus the end cost of using an AI model is always dropping.
What do you think? What jobs will be needed in this sector? Well, it's shifting, correct? People, companies are laying off. What jobs will get replaced by that?
So we are kind of seeing the job market split a little bit. Okay. So first, like let's take an example of manufacturing, right? Over there, you kind of have initially you used to have R&D folks, you had production level folks, you have management folks, you have people who are into logistics. What's happening is after the AI space, every team is being split into two parts. The first part is someone who understands their core domain plus like an AI background. So the first kind of job that is going to skyrocket is domain experts. Like someone who has understood manufacturing for the last 10 years, 20 years, has extensive experience in it is going to skyrocket. Because this skill is going to be extremely important for building good quality AI in the long run. So this is the first skill. Second skill is about integrations, where you have certain AI models. How do you make these AI models talk to systems, talk to other logistical systems, talk to other employee management systems, talk to other finance systems? How do you make sure all of these things happen? Third type of jobs are into data science, are into machine learning, are into like core AI research, neural engineering type stuff.
So what do you think holds back AI adoption for Indian businesses, like MSMEs and everything?
Oh, right now there are two reasons, right? And it might be a little controversial for me to say this.
Yeah.
The first one is existing leadership, right? People, whenever I look at it, like within our experience of doing AI stuff across like multiple clients across multiple countries, what I've understood is there are different phases. The first one is called like an awareness phase, where someone is like, they're just like getting used to the fact that there is a new AI tool that's coming up. The second phase is always a resistance phase. इससे क्या ही हो जाएगा? It's not going to help me in any sense. Third and fourth stages are where you kind of integrate and you adopt from it. So that's where you kind of understand like, hey, I might be able to get good use out of this. This is the same thing that happened with ChatGPT. Like if you look at us as well as like the previous generation, we have people who blame ChatGPT for like being nonsense.
Yes.
And now people who love talking to it. Just think about how this curve is going to shape up over time. So I think this aspect of being in the resistance phase and then giving up on AI tools from like management of a lot of companies is holding AI adoption. Second thing, AI itself has to be more explainable, and all in all, I think the technology is still far leading the adoption curve right now. So I'll say as long as we sort the human part, we solve the logistics part, AI is ripe for adoption. And I think behind the scenes, we are seeing a lot of impact, a lot of workload on AI based implementations.
Should Indian businesses focus on custom AI or companies like AtomicLoops? Which do you think is better for them?
So unfortunately with the AI space, right, in general, like forget about country, forget about a region, forget about like a type of industry. For any new person to build or invest something in an AI space, the problem is the cost of doing a wrong experiment is extremely high.
Yes.
Like let's say you are training an AI model on a certain type of data set, right? To do this, you have to take servers on cloud which are like worth tens of thousands of dollars. The moment you do this, and you have to set a lot of parameters, you have to do some neural engineering and train this AI model to then talk to you properly. Even if one of this parameter goes wrong, that full experiment is a waste. That full resources are gone. So that's why the cost of kind of missing out on the right outcome is extremely high, and the probability is extremely high.
Yes.
So that's why I always prefer talking to companies and telling them that, hey, partner with someone who has this clear expertise of like what experiments to run, has like clear experience on cloud, has clear experience on the data integrations phase. Once all of this is taken care of, it's relatively predictable and cost effective to do it externally. You can then move it in-house and then maintain the AI model in-house, but like the training part is so difficult. That's why you have to kind of rely on experts who have done this before.
Yeah. But the cost barrier is the key, correct? But with the rise of smaller, more efficient language models like SLMs, do you like Microsoft's Phi 3 or Meta's Llama 3, which can run on a phone? Don't they change the entire thing of Indian businesses?
So, see, there are two things, right? In the AI space, we have something called as AI model training and AI model inferencing.
Yes.
So, training is where you kind of teach this AI model how to think. This is where you have headlines from like OpenAI saying we have invested tens of millions of dollars in like training the latest version of GPT. The point is, when you write a command in the browser, like you give a prompt and you get some output, it's called inferencing. A small language model is only good at inferring at a high speed. So like when you use it at the end, it's going to be faster and much more resource intensive. It is going to be much optimized on the resources. So like that's one aspect, but the training cost or the training effort is not changing by a big margin. It might change a little bit, but still like the cost of doing these experiments, the cost of implementing AI, the cost of training this model, versioning it. Because think about it, right? All of us know that there have been releases from Apple, from Google, from OpenAI, where their AI models have talked absolutely wrong things about a lot of famous people, and which has caused a lot of debates and controversies across. So this is where having like the proper model security, proper guardrails, proper rules and systems for every AI model is absolutely important.
So do you think India should better build its own ChatGPT equivalent?
I think right now India should focus on using foundational AI models to first boost up productivity across all industries, because a lot of other companies do not have this industrial background that we have, right? The manufacturing capabilities that we have are not present in a lot of other countries. You still have a few countries leading India in the manufacturing race.
Yes.
But right now we are at the right spot where we are not too digitized, we are not too baseline, we are not like too advanced, we are not too basic. So we are at the right spot for AI adoption. So I'll suggest next few years India should focus on using this as an integration technology. At parallel, you could always focus on building foundational AI models. My always recommendation to like any AI researcher who I talk to is like, don't focus on building a model that is like expert of everything under the sun, right? Just like ChatGPT. It's better to build individual expert systems. Like build one AI model that's very good at healthcare, that's good at kind of detecting kidney stones from like X-ray, like let's say ultrasounds.
Yes.
Let's say build one AI model that's extremely good at logistics. Build one AI model that's very good at, let's say, transport or banking or finance. And that is going to have long-term value compared to like a foundational AI model.
So do you think right now adaptation and awareness is a problem in India when it comes to AI?
So in AI, this is actually the first industry or the first like paradigm shift in tech where adoption is playing a negative role, like awareness is playing a negative role. For instance, you have so many people who are hearing about AI, like the moment they wake up to the time they sleep, there is always AI somewhere in the news in their industry, which is causing a lot of panic and a lot of undecisedness between these people, right? So you don't know exactly where is AI going to impact my industry as a business leader. So for this, people generally also try to stay away from AI implementations. So I'll say overexposure to AI is damaging at start, and which is something that we are seeing right now.
Okay.
Like you said, there's always a resistance at first.
Yeah.
So do you think India is still in the resistance phase, or now people are start to implement in the company or in the large enterprises?
So there are many different stages of this phase. So if you look at tech in India, we are well into the integration phase. If you look at manufacturing in India, yes, we are a little bit in the resistance phase, kind of mixing up the awareness and the resistance phase. If you look at healthcare, we are right now even like not even entered the resistance phase. So every industry has their own benchmarks, but within India at a broad level, we are trying to make use of AI as much as possible.
Yeah, but with the 1.2 billion Indian AI mission just getting the cabinet approval, the timing of the conversation is perfect. So if you were on the advising committee, what would be your one quick win project which you would focus on?
So the very first thing that I would focus on is kind of first, see, the very good thing about India right now is that we have a very solid India stack. So if I kind of quote Nandan Nilekani, who has kind of built this full India stack, we have Aadhaar, we have DigiLocker,
Yes.
we have our own KYC systems, we have your own vaccine-based digital certificates. We have this India stack that kind of every bank uses, that every individual uses, that every hospital uses. You have Ayushman Bharat, which is also like a digital healthcare based mission coming in. With all of these systems, we are actually leading the world in a lot of these digital benchmarks. Like even if you look at any other country, the number of Aadhaar citizens within India is like at least 30% more than the nearest competitor.
Yes.
And we are still handling this at a scale without a lot of errors, and the error rate or the problem rate within the Aadhaar system is like way lower by a magnitude compared to other countries. So first of all, the foundation is very solid. Like we have this India stack to build on. Now, if I was in this committee, I would kind of make maximum use of this India stack and further ease out credit, further ease out manufacturing based systems, ease out logistics. If I create government policies, I'll make sure kind of AI is implemented to make sure these policies reach the right people at the right time. I'll make sure there is a lot of browsing data. There is also a lot of proprietary data of my citizens. So recently, I think Denmark is the first country to give every person a legal copyright of their face, of their photo, and like of their full body.
Okay.
So like now, like based on this podcast, right? If you guys tomorrow decide to create a deep fake of me,
Yeah.
if this was Denmark, you couldn't do it.
Okay.
So similarly, there are a lot of other countries who are stepping up in this game. So I'll say my biggest focus would be protecting the data generated by my citizens as a country.
Yes.
And like making sure this is used maximum towards the benefit of India. I don't want this data to be funneled out of my country and then used to build foundational models and being sold back to my country.
Yes. So do you think India lacks in tech AI?
I think India
on tech law.
Okay, so India by default we have one rule called the DPDPI Act, like Digital Personal Data Protection Act.
Okay.
Now in general this act itself is very popular and a lot of countries have taken reference from this data act. So
Okay.
by default we are very good when it comes to data protection. This law is a lot of times debated to be as good as Europe's GDPR or USA's HL7. So we are still very good at AI laws, but at the same time we have to be careful about evaluating AI systems and restricting access to it. So we are good at protecting data, but right now we still need to explore a lot of space in protecting adoption of AI.
Yes.
Talking about India, was AtomicLoops selected to showcase their work in G20 W20?
We were. So in G20 we showcased a lot of foundational AI stuff to worldwide delegates. Through this we kind of had one chance to represent India on a global stage, because G20 is always about showcasing what's good in every country, right? So for us, AI is a very important term when it comes to India's long-term growth.
Yes.
So it was indeed a very proud moment. We showcased a lot of cool technologies, like right from foundational AI to like safety AI to healthcare AI to in general manufacturing AI. We could like work on a lot of these aspects.
Okay. So in the global race, should India be a Tesla, like a fundamental research and new architecture, or an Edison, mastering the application and commercialization use of existing AI for specific needs?
So again, see, the way things work in the AI space is you have to start by being an Edison. Only then do you get enough data to become a Tesla.
Yes.
Which is why I think India is in the right space at the right time, doing the right thing. It's very good that we are not trying to be the Tesla at day one, because if you look at it in AI, like in any other industry, tech industry, there is always a first mover disadvantage, right? So like Apple wasn't the first hardware smartphone company.
Yes.
Facebook wasn't the first social network. Google wasn't the first search engine. Now, if you think about this first mover disadvantage is the reason why a lot of second and third movers kind of win the race in the long run. So that's why, because these guys have spent a lot of time being the Edison first,
Yes.
working under the Tesla at that time, and then launching their own Tesla Model 3.
India has a certain advantage in this thing.
We have a huge advantage because of our population, workforce, the sheer amount of data that is being created. Think about it.
Yes.
India has the lowest internet per GB rate for like getting mobile data.
Okay.
Because of this, the amount of user generated data that India is generating is simply unparalleled to any country in the world.
Yes. India has a lot of engineers also.
Yes.
Do you think that there's a third part in this Edison Tesla thing?
I think there are many parts here, right? So if you look at it, the Edison Tesla analogy is kind of very cool.
Yes.
But from there is also like an adoption curve. Like for a Tesla car, it's like as cool as just like buying a car and start driving it. You also need other people who can chauffeur the car for you. So like there are going to be other players who are involved in the background of this game.
Yes.
And who also need to be equipped well in time.
So there's always a debate about which country leads the AI race.
Yeah.
With the US producing the most top models in AI, and China rapidly narrowing down the gap. But instead of just looking at the US-China rivalry, where do you see India in this picture? Is India coping up with them?
So see, again, I love to go back to my networking analogy, right? Like when you start, is like the best way to build tech. Let's say in the internet space, who would you define the most profitable or like the most valuable company in the AI space, in the internet space? Is this the company who built like the foundational internet, or companies that leverage the internet? So I see that there is a big race for building the foundations of AI, just like the internet space.
Yes.
But over time, I think we are all going to converge into one reality where you have AI adoptions leading the game, which essentially would go back into building foundational AI models. And I think India might not be very well positioned in the short term game. Like right now, we might not compete very well with like DeepSeek or OpenAI in like foundational models. But I do think that we are at the right place to be a long term player. So if you look at like a few years down the line, I'm very bullish on India doing very good at foundational models.
So when it comes to AI, right, what do you think is the future for companies such as Neuralink, the chip which is integrated in the human itself, right? So do you think that AI plays a big role in this, and can this be a potential future for integrating AI in everyday life?
So see, general, when you look at companies like Neuralink, I'm personally not a very big fan of implants and having something within my body and then having AI control it.
Yes.
I would love to have things that are on top of my body that are reversible. Like I could remove and keep it out whenever I want to. Like even at AtomicLoops, we have those brain bits, brain bands where you kind of put it on your head. It scans your brain waves, it scans your EEG activities across all alpha, beta, gamma waves. So we have used AI to analyze like your brain state. Are you into meditative state or are you into a stress state? We did a few pilot projects where based on this brain state, we used to create like meditative music for you. Like the moment you looked at all of these aspects, we could create like a specific music for you, for your mood, to get it into a more calm state. So we have done projects like these. I think the short-term way of having AI in your everyday life is going to be something like AR glasses, where you have these Meta glasses.
Yes.
You could ask this guy like, hey Meta, what is this? Now, I think this space is ripe for disruption. The very first enabler is going to be through your mobile phone. Like you have high quality AI assistants just doing work for you. You can ask about things, you can talk about things, you can ask questions, analyze stuff. So that's like the first level, which I think we are already there.
Yes.
The second level is like AR glasses,
Yes.
where I think you could have a more refined view or a more integrated view about your reality and a virtual reality on top of this.
Like the Apple one.
The Apple Meta glasses, Apple VR,
Apple Vision.
Apple
and
Vision glasses.
Meta also has one.
Yes.
Yes.
But I think those vision glasses are also still very heavy and bulky.
Yes.
They have to reduce in size and
Tony Stark glasses, yeah.
yes. So that's like the medium term phase, and the long term might be a lot of AI accessories around you. I lack the imagination to see like, would that be a brain bit, or would that be a wristwatch, or would that be like a ring that can, or would that be just a holographic image that in the same AI lens, if you could just like span out a holographic stuff. I lack imagination to tell you that.
Well, I have played a lot of Call of Duty, and I'm sure I don't want to put a chip in my brain. No.
Yeah, okay.
Well, if like Perplexity is now making headlines of putting an offer to buy Chrome, which is more than its valuation, correct? So if a startup like Perplexity controlled a browser like Google Chrome, could that fundamentally change how we interact with AI?
So right now it is right. A company like Google, who has done equal or similar amount of research in AI,
Yes.
is still controlling a browser. So in essence, the way I look at this is the future is going to be AI agents crawling across the web, getting information for you and presenting it back to you. So what is Perplexity? Perplexity is a wrapper on top of a foundational AI model. So when you ask a question, it goes to the web. Its agents like crawl the web, analyze, like get information from multiple sources, give it back to you.
Yes.
So for us, this is a very important thing, right? Where now in case of SEO, which was like search engine optimization, you need to have like new tools where your website can now rank into these AI agents. Like the moment someone asks about AI companies in India to Perplexity, I want to make sure my company comes up.
Yes.
Right, and it's in like the top rankings. It's Perplexity is talking very good things about my company. I want to make sure all of that happens.
Yes.
So the future of AI agents on the web is going to be very integrated. But now you have two sides of the coin, right? One type of group is saying they don't want AI to crawl their web pages because that's like proprietary info. They want those users to come on that site and then look at it and then go out.
Yes.
You have the second type of users who are like, hey, as long as my thing is getting promoted, I don't care. So you have both types, but in essence, this is going to happen over time where you're going to see a lot of web browsers come through. Even if it's not Google Chrome, Chrome has a version called Chromium, which is an open source browser. Okay. It works exactly the same. It looks same. It's like maybe one or two versions behind Google Chrome. But like as you can see, like the last 10 years of Google Chrome have been mostly the same in terms of look and feel.
Yes.
So if you just take the latest version of Chromium, there are a lot of companies who have anyway AI enabled it. So if not Chrome, you'll see a lot of such experiments come up where AI companies are working with browsers and doing all of those integrations.
Yes, so the next big frontier is AI integrated devices. Does that cede more power to the big hardware giants like Apple and Samsung and their walled gardens?
In fact, I'll say that gives more power, that takes power away from these giants and kind of democratizes the space of AI agents.
Okay.
Right? So if you look at hardware, in essence, hardware is basically a sensor connected with a processor. Right? Okay. Any edge device. If your phone also you look at it, it's a camera connected with a processor.
Yes.
If you like want to take calls, it's like a speaker and microphone connected to a processor. So now the companies that build these processors are fairly standard across the globe. Because of AI, every company now has the power to design their own set of hardwares. Like even right now, I know a lot of companies where you just choose what type of processor do you want, what type of hardwares do you want on top. Like I want a camera, a microphone, maybe an arm to do something. It will create this hardware for you and ship it to you at a very low cost compared to if you were to do the R&D in-house.
Yes.
And then just run an AI model on it. So it kind of eases out the access for hardware.
So if Apple and Samsung do this, make AI integrated devices, what does that mean for open source AI?
So even if they build these AI devices, right?
Yes.
End of the day, if you want to make like a long-term success, you have to use an open source model on these AI devices.
Yes.
So I think irrespective, if you look at it, right, in general, this is just like the media industry where any sort of publicity is good or bad. So in this space, it's more like any sort of sensor-based AI adoption is excellent. You just have to make sure that it kind of funnels back to the right innovation. So even if it's closed source, open source, in the end, it's going to result into good AI adoption, which is what we want.
Okay, so Elon Musk's XAI and GROK have been in the news too. GROK 4 ingest real-time data from Twitter, correct? So what do you think of Musk's strategy to leverage social media for AI?
Now, this is a double-edged sword for me. Social media for AI can like give you a lot of real-time data in terms of what's happening where, because that's like directly linked with the social media. The bigger problem here is it is also going to give you data that's biased and that's polarized.
Yes.
Because when you go on social media, a lot of times you see what you want to see. So in essence, when you become contributors on the social media space, you end up creating data according to your own set of beliefs on like every side of the game. So this is going to create a lot of polarized data, which might not result into the most effective neutral AI models coming up. So I think it's good for real-time information, but for accurate information, I think you'll have to rely somewhere else.
I agree. It can be a it can be a gold mine for training,
Yes.
So
for
if you see
training
like
real-world data.
GROK and DeepSeek.
Yeah.
What you talk about polarization of data.
Yeah.
These are like top examples because GROK is very open.
Yeah.
DeepSeek can be a little bit restrictive. Towards,
Exactly.
Towards data, right?
Yep.
So do you think there should be awareness in people that this data is actually controlled by companies, not controlled but can be restricted or can be polarized at a point?
So it depends, right? So in general, any AI model is going to be as good as the data it's trained on. Now, almost every company releases a set of toolkits where the AI is trained on. So to begin with, you kind of analyze like, hey, what's the data source? What's like the input stream for this data set?
Yes.
The more you work on this, the more you read about this, the more you understand like, hey, are there any inherent biases within this data? So I think the best way for users is to first understand like what is the motive behind building this AI model, and then even within any language model you can ask this LLM to give you data specific to certain types. Like, I don't want biased data, it will not give you biased data. So you have to make sure you do that prompt engineering in the right way.
Yes. Well, GROK is praised as having a rebellious streak. Correct.
Yes.
So is there a real product behind it, or is it just a marketing gimmick to differentiate it from ChatGPT?
So I think it's currently just a marketing gimmick, because end of the day it's all using a language model and just like querying the language model with a structured prompt.
Yes. I think it can be a hellscape of toxic data that can poison the model.
Exactly. Yep.
So what AI trends excite you the most? Is it AGI, AI first apps, or embedded intelligence?
So right now there is something called as MCP, which is a model context protocol. This really excites me because essentially what we are doing is we tell AI, like let's say you have any software within your company, right?
Yes.
Let's say you have an HR software. There are different pages to this software. You just explain every page to the AI model, and then you tell the AI model to do its job. It can now do everything on this software through a chatbot. You don't have to build any software on top of it.
Okay.
Like just connect this AI model to your software, explain every page, every screen.
Yes.
That's it. It can now work with different tools across this software. So this MCP space can genuinely change the game for AI adoption, because now the barrier to entry is almost none.
Yes.
Right? You just have someone explain every page in natural language. For that also you can have voice to text chatbots. Like just have someone sit and explain the tool once, do a transcription, give it to an AI model. The AI model can directly start using it.
Yes. So what do you think makes a successful AI solution? Is it PR hype? Is it metrics adoption? Or is it ethical design?
So right now we are in the early stage of this industry.
Yes.
Right? Within the early stage of any industry, the success of any solution is determined by what's the right type of value that is being delivered. So the best case of an AI solution for me is something that genuinely increases human productivity. Okay. As long as you can have a metric that quantifies that, it's more than enough. You don't really need to get into other KPIs that's maybe relevant down the line as the industry matures.
Yes.
Right now it's just how effective the AI system is.
So if you were 18 today, what would you study to focus on thrive in AI? What would you tell people who are 18 to study to focus on AI?
Yeah, so I think this is a very classic example, right? So if I'm 18 today, I think I'll still focus on getting my core engineering concepts right.
Yes.
Like let's focus on core software. Like the fundamentals never change, like front end, back end, APIs, database, this never changes. So irrespective of the fact of having all of this AI hype around you,
yes,
I'll still focus on core tech, maybe for the first 2 years. After that, I'll get into AI, prompt engineering, model development, all of that. But I think the first step for me would be to zone out from AI. Like it's a little ironic because I want to give advice to an 18-year-old to get into AI.
Yes.
Like the first advice would be zone out from AI, understand like the basics of tech, and then come in, because then your growth curve is going to be much faster.
I agree.
So you've said before that education, like institutes are applying AI and overusing it in their particular courses, right? So do you think this can actually change the traditional engineering way, or for any particular subject? Can it change the way it is being taught nowadays rather than it was taught back in the day when you were in college?
So I don't think institutes are, first of all, over engineering AI. What I kind of meant at that time was, I think institutes are focusing on the wrong part in AI adoption.
Yes.
Okay, so within any AI project, right, for us, 90% of this project is around AI data, around getting this data, training the AI model, making sure it's trained properly, and then shipping it back to the customer.
Okay.
Institutes are focusing on the 10% part, which is more about the programming part behind AI, more about getting the model, training an AI model. Nowadays, you can start with a good open source model, which does 90% of what you want to do anyway. So I think focusing on this other 90%, which is where you kind of have all of the data engineering, have all of that real life problems. In case of any college or in case of any university, you start with a perfect data set, and then you build an AI which is then doing perfectly well, and then you kind of get that satisfaction of building your own AI system.
Yes.
Problem is, in real life, programming is never a barrier for building a good AI system. It's always the data.
Yes. So do you think Indian universities are quite behind in this?
I think they should focus more on the data human integration aspect,
yes,
rather than focusing on the coding aspect.
I definitely agree. But in India, many parents equate success with becoming an engineer or a doctor or a chartered accountant.
Yeah.
How do you see Indian parents and families adopting? How should Indian parents and families adapt their expectations?
So, okay, I might get into trouble for saying this, but a lot of times opinions of parents are based on branding of certain technologies, right?
Yes.
From their childhood, if they've seen like a doctor or a lawyer or like equivalent folks doing very good in their life, for them that is a metric of success. So I think whenever a new person wants to get into the AI space, and if you want to like have a genuine conversation with your parents about it,
yes,
I'll suggest like talk to them, make sure they understand the impact of what you're about to do.
Okay.
Make sure you do enough branding about this technology at your home.
Yes.
And then you kind of get into this discussion. And the more you do this, the better it gets. And it's easier for your parents to also accept it. Because if you think about it, they're not living the same reality that you guys are. So for them, let's focus on the branding first. And then I think they might leave their thought of, the structured success mindset.
So what would you explain to a student who's probably giving a competitive exam, that what do you do right now, and how will engineering help them in what you have achieved right now?
So when you say a competitive exam, which competitive exam?
Any particular, because you are from the tech field.
Okay.
Let's talk about engineering.
Like JEE or something?
Fair,
JEE,
okay.
CET.
So in case of someone in that space, right, I think what I'll suggest is, see, there are two types of education paradigms that are happening right now.
Yes.
Okay. The two things are, the first one being, let's say 15 years before, the access to data or the access to knowledge was limited. Right? For that, you had to get into elite institutions to get access to those kind of knowledge, books or research papers.
Yes.
The problem is now it's all free. Right? So I think the speed at which AI and technology is changing, it's not once in 10 years, it's not once in 5 years, it's once in 5 weeks. So I think focus on doing your own bit of research, focus on your own self-development. At the same time, your formal education is also going to give you a dimension of your personality. Like the people you meet over there, the networking connections that you make, over time, like the discipline that you accrue from working into that space is all very important.
Okay. So do you think JEE is worth it?
Okay, so I'll kind of refrain from answering this question, but within my own set, see, JEE is a very good example of telling you how good you are on mastering one particular curriculum.
Yes.
My problem is equating this with the capability and the intelligence of that kid. It doesn't matter, right? I know a lot of people who have done very good in JEE, who have been through excellent IITs and who are struggling to get jobs right now. I know a lot of people who have graduated from like the worst named college and who are doing extremely well in terms of impact.
Yes.
So I'll suggest it's not about it being worth it or not. It's about equating this with your intelligence, which is what happens, unfortunately, within a lot of families.
Because at the end of the day, I believe that JE does makes you builds you up to handle pressure and also for problem solving, right? So obviously every student can't handle the particular pressure that they have to go through in a competitive exam, but still when you say that the traditional methods of education helps, this pressure or this problem solving can be integrated in students at an early age, for example for the competitive exam, right? So do you agree that these competitive exams are still and very much right to go for, rather than just go for a different go for example, if you talk about AI, after 12 directly go for AI rather than going through the core. So students right now are also in a dilemma: should they go for a core course or for a specialization course in AI? So what do you think in that?
So I actually want to touch on a different topic here, which might give you more background on this answer.
Yes.
And that is, first, even before you talk about the discipline aspect or like the problem solving aspect, you need to think about like what's the kind of background where the current generation is growing up, right? So you guys have ChatGPT, you guys have a lot of tools at your disposal, and these are extremely powerful tools. Okay, like for example, if you equate yourself to someone who is living, let's say, 500 years before you, you're living a better life even than like the most biggest emperor at that time. You
Yes.
have access to extremely good data at your disposal. You can do whatever you want through it. The problem with this is no problem is now difficult, right? Like
Yes.
if you want to understand, like let's say okay, we have this plastic bottle, right? You want to understand like the injection molding process through which this bottle is created.
Yes.
The point is, it's as simple as just writing a prompt to ChatGPT, giving it and getting an answer, and then within 40 seconds you have solved the problem.
I agree.
The downside to this is, over time we lose out on the muscle of working on a problem day and night.
Yes, it becomes quite easy then.
It becomes quite easy. What happens is, end of the day, right, whenever you get into the commercial, like the industry phase, and you start actually working and you start solving problems, all problems are long term in nature, right? Like any new project, any new real estate project, any new problem, any new vaccine that you want to build, any new construction site, any new implementation, any new drug that you want to discover, is all long term problems which last years on years.
Yes.
So now somewhere I believe, I really hate being the person who kind of blames the other generation, but being in that space, I think this generation somewhere is getting that instant gratification so much, and it's not their problem. Everyone expects them to have that already.
Yes.
So they have to use all of these tools. So getting this instant gratification so much, and a lot of times kind of makes you oblivious towards having a long-term approach towards solving a problem.
Yes.
Like every week sleeping over a problem, having that thought run through your mind, right? It's a long-term process. So I think for this, after 12th, I'll suggest for students, see, it doesn't matter which discipline you go through. I'll suggest choose one that can give you this long-term problem solving ability, right? And that's, I think, a personal choice. For some people it happens through like the AI formal education space. For some people it happens through not being in tech and then getting back into tech. So there are many ways. As long as you keep working on your self-development, I think just focus on a long-term problem solving skill, because that's only one muscle that you're lacking.
Yes.
Because if you build this, you're like the most competitive generation ever till now.
Yes. Do you think it's mind rotting for students?
I think it is mind rotting only when you let it stop your thinking.
Okay, I agree with you. But if we use it complementary, then it's useful, correct?
Then it's actually very useful, because then it promotes you to become more curious across everything happening in real life. You can ask more questions, you can get answers ASAP,
Yes.
and you can talk about it.
I definitely agree with you. Let's do a rapid fire round.
All right.
Okay, so you can start. Yeah.
So, what is a particular favorite AI tool which you think you won't be able to live without?
It's called Cursor.
Cursor, yeah.
It helps me write code through AI.
Which is the most overrated AI buzzword?
Oh, I think it's agentic AI. It's just like
What's agentic AI?
agentic AI is when you can have an AI work as an agent. Like
Okay.
I build like an AI agent that scrapes the web, and this guy is expert at scraping the web.
Okay.
It's essentially just language models, just structured prompts, and maybe like particular action. So I think agentic AI is a big buzzword right now.
Sam Altman or Elon Musk, whose AI vision would you bet on?
I'll bet on my own.
Like,
On atomic loops, yeah. What was the last thing you asked an AI chatbot which you can share?
Well, I kind of asked an AI chatbot to build a user manual for a project that we built.
Okay, so yeah.
what sport do you play to get disconnected from work?
Okay, so I play golf first of all, but I think for me it's not about disconnecting from work. I'm never disconnected from work. I hate this.
Yeah.
So for me, work-life balance doesn't like exist. I think if you love your work for long enough, you just like balance it out within it.
That's the
I
work
play
life.
golf.
Work is work life balance. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's one AI myth that you wish that people would drop?
AI is here to take away jobs. I've heard this for long enough,
Yeah,
and I think it makes no sense.
If Atomics Loop had to partner with a global giant such as Google, Microsoft, or OpenAI, who would you pick?
I think at this point, Microsoft or OpenAI, because
Yes.
Microsoft has very good adoption within Indian industries. Like integrating AI is going to make it a superpower.
Yes.
Or OpenAI.
With this OS software and everything, will be quite helpful.
Yes,
for
exactly.
finance, for law, and
Exactly.
everything, yeah. AI in cricket umpiring or AI in stock trading? Where would
AI
you-
in cricket umpiring,
AI in
no
cricket
doubt.
umpiring.
So, what's one industry you think AI will never disrupt?
Well, I think industries that require a lot of human empathy and human passion, maybe like
Lawyers.
therapy, maybe healthcare, where you have like the nursing sector, maybe like old age care.
Yes.
Maybe if you get into stuff like high quality problem solving, like leadership of logistics, right? That is something where AI cannot. At the same time, we need to also understand AI is good at pretending to be an expert.
Yes.
Right, so because it's trained on some data and it's trained to spit out this data.
I agree. ChatGPT is always very confident as it answers correct.
Yeah, exactly. Like anything you ask, okay, I know how this is solved.
AI generated art or human made art? What would be on your wall at Atomic Loops?
I love both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you make that ChatGPT Ghibli art?
I was honestly late to the trend,
Yeah.
so I did do it, but at the time I was kind of phased out.
So, I'm pretty sure that you do a lot of personal tasks with AI. So, what personal tasks would you would you do the most with when AI is integrated in it?
I think for me and for any other person, right, the very first biggest use case of AI is just treating it like an executive assistant. It can help you structure your email, structure a calendar,
Yes.
talk to people, where like it'll do a bulk, it'll solve a bulk load of stuff for you and then get everything structured within you.
And there's an AI, I can't remember the name, so it's on WhatsApp, correct? So you just put a text message to
Yeah.
and it acts like an assistant to your calendar.
Yeah.
It's quite good. I can't remember the name, but
Okay. Like there are many AI tools like this.
what's one line to describe the future of AI in India?
I think, okay, I'm going to describe this in 2 words. The future of AI in India is called nation building.
Okay.
So this is like a do or die moment for us. We have to get it right. And
Yes.
the cost of getting it right is extremely high. Like the reward of getting it right is extremely high versus the cost of missing out on the revolution is also extremely high.
The risk reward is quite high.
Is very high. So I'll say in the long run, the global race is like the dominance of powers is going to be controlled through AI and like access to data.
Yes.
Finally, if not AI, then what would Vinay Phadnis do?
I think robotics.
Robotics?
Yeah.
Like Tesla. Building robots.
Maybe like Tesla or maybe like Boston Dynamics.
Even AI can now be integrated with robotics.
Of course, yeah.
What do you think about that particular field?
So I think this is a big deal because robots normally generate a lot of data, because this guy is just like active in the real world. This guy is generating a lot of observational data, communication data, sensor data.
Yes.
This data is huge, like it's like gigabytes in size of like columns.
Yes.
And to make sense of it, you only need AI.
Yeah, but for example, let's say companies like Tesla and everything, instead of labor, they use their robots. So how would it affect the labor market?
So if you look at like the full story of this Tesla case, right?
Yes.
You had Elon Musk quoting at one time like they had done a lot of over optimization through their factories, which is why like he had to spend a lot of months in the factory, like sleeping on the shopping floor, and like solving problems in real time. So over engineering and over automation is also not that good.
Yes.
So I think it's going to have a phased out impact on the labor market. As I said, the job profile is going to change. It doesn't change like how many people are employed. It just changes what kind of skills do you need to be employed.
Okay. So what's next for Atomic Loops? Next 5 years, 10 years vision?
Next 5 years, we just want to be the driving force behind India's exponential AI growth.
Yes.
We want to support our country as much as possible and kind of participate in the next generation of nation building.
Yes.
So, what do you think? What should be? What message will you give to the young innovators that they should take away from this conversation?
So, I think my modus operandi behind doing business or behind AI, behind engineering, behind like a lot of decisions in my life is just ignore the noise. You'll have a lot of noise at every given point. Just ignore it, focus on some core aspects that you want to solve for. In my case, it's problem solving.
Yes.
For me, everything else is noise. Employees, revenue, everything else is noise. As long as I'm solving good problems, I'm delivering good things, for me, that's the outcome. So focus on what is your gold outcome. Everything else is noise. Focus on it.
Focus on self-learning.
And just like one thing that you want to focus on in your life.
Yes. In 5 years from now, if someone looks back at this conversation, this podcast, what do you want them to remember as a single best belief about AI and its roles and its role in our lives?
I really want people to understand that AI is not just about ChatGPT, it's much, much more.
It's more than ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Well, I think India has a lot of potential now.
I do, yes.
In the scope of AI, and we're still growing.
Yeah.
And we are not far behind in China.
Oh, of course. We are, if you look at it, right now you're just looking at like a 100-meter sprint, which is about foundational model development.
Yeah.
There are many other categories of this race as well, like 400-meter relay, where you might not know, but India is leading a lot.
India's going to win the marathon then.
Yeah. That's how I see it.
Thank you for sharing a journey and vision with us. This conversation actually shows that AI is not just about technology, it's about rethinking how we live, work, and how we create. I'm sure our listeners will always be inspired to imagine a future a little differently.
I'm glad this was useful, and I hope your audience takes something out of it.
I think it'll be very useful for students whose parents are forcing them into traditional career pathways, and they can find their own way,
find clarity in their life,
and become so like the economist Tyler Cowen says that he calls the age of the earnest autodidact. So autodidact is a person where the ability to teach yourself complex skills, which is quite more useful in today's world. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.